How's it going, you guys? Blake here for the Little Regret channel. And I'm glad to see all of you guys again. Glad to be back. But today we're not going to be doing our usual daily race, ranked grind, trying to get back to A+, so we are startlingly close to that. And that will be coming back in a pretty healthy clip. Right now we're just going to be taking a moment to just take a moment to breathe in, woosah, enjoy the fact that it's Friday, or at least Friday here in America, and just have like a nice little race. So you can already see on screen I've got it set up here for Daytona on the road course, not the oval, and we're gonna be just running some doggone Miatas, because why not? So we have it set up with the Mazda Roadster NRA, or the basically Roadster Cup car, not a Cup car. And we're going to be going for just a little under, right around an hour, so a little over an hour actually. And we basically just have a one-make field set up here, and I've tried everything out. It should be pretty fun. I don't think we're going to be doing much more than like one pit stop, but the racing has been very close and very entertaining up to this stage. So I just wanted to kind of take this opportunity to really have a bit more of a relaxed kind of stream where I can kind of engage with you guys, see what's going on with chat, see where my driving is at and how crappy I am just on a nearly dry run, aside from like the 10 minutes of practice I've had, and just chill, you know? I think that's a lot more fun to be able to take breaks and be able to try new things and try different things. And so for me, I was trying to find out recently what I really enjoy doing, as I'm in a very big transitional period in my life, as I often find myself in every year or two. And I was like, well, you know, I love endurance racing. I'd love to be able to get to do more of that. And my current rig is not super happy with iRacing. It doesn't want to play nice for streaming purposes. But I did want to bring some of the endurance racing to the streams, and I started to realize that there's a lot of utility in the custom races on GT7. So, with that said, we started to bring the endurance races into GT7, and custom races have actually done a really good job of giving us good, proper racing. If you set them up right, that is. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of show you guys what settings I'm using so we can kind of talk through what's going to happen. Maybe go a little bit into the cadence of the race, though I've not fully completed it yet, so I'm not exactly sure what it's going to look like. It's all going to be a grid of MX-5, so it's not going to be much to walk through the grid. And then after that, we'll just get right into it, because why not? So, speaking of all that, as far as the car, like I said, it's the Roadster NRA, and we're going to be on comfort soft tires. Now, you may ask, you're on the Daytona road course in a nearly Mazda Cup car. Why comfort tires? The short answer, and the very short answer, is that the one-make field really wanted to use the comfort soft tires and not anything quicker than that. Plus, this thing is already not super powerful. This is using the ND1 engine, and pretty much it's entirely spec to ND1 specifications, but with a couple of other go fast goodies like a better suspension, diff settings, etc., etc. But the rest is all pretty much factory stock, and you'll find that this and the 2015 Roadster that's in game perform at a very similar clip, and probably can be raced side by side. So, with all that said, we're going to go ahead and keep it there. I've left everything stock. I've not fiddled with any little bits and bobs. And actually, the only thing going on is that there's a BOP restriction, which ultimately doesn't mean anything because it's a one-make. And I don't think it's really making any adjustments whatsoever. You can see the performance points value, power, torque, and weight, all the same. Nothing's changed. So yeah, there's that. This car still even has a wind deflector on it, so street drivable, track capable. Love to see it. As far as the race settings themselves, we've got set up on a 60-minute timer. It's going to be 20 cars on the grid. We're going to be starting plumb last, because why not? We're going to make it a little bit more challenging for ourselves, and you're probably going to see me have a few crashes. So that'll be fun, though I'm going to be making a very concerted effort to have a clean race. We have the boost setting on weak. Now you're wondering, if I'm so hard for the esports angle, why would I be running boost? Why would I be artificially strengthening the field? This is actually to counteract some of the funkiness going on with GT7's pacing. If you've ever seen any one of Raffle Waffle's videos on the state of GT7 over the last couple of years, there'll be some allusions to how there's like a weird pacing issue where the whole field basically will increase or decrease their pace based on where you are relative to the lead car. So having the boost on actually makes it a little bit more competitive for the entire field, and also it makes it less, makes the yo-yo effect actually a little bit less apparent. So I like to run it on weak to kind of get the best from that. Slipstream strength is on wheel. Slipstream strength, excuse me, is on real, and we have heavy damage. So if we do make any stupid foibles, we're gonna have to go into the pits, and that's gonna be the same for the AI cars. If they make any stupid foibles, they're gonna have to go into the pits, and if we screw them over, they're gonna have to go into the pits. Easy peasy. Tires are going to be on 10x, which I don't think is going to be all that significant. We might still be able to do the whole race on a single set of tires because they're going to be comfort softs, and comfort softs last a lifetime. Fuel burn's going to be on 4x. That'll guarantee that we at least have to pit once for fuel, because I think that he was quoting me something like 60 to 70 laps on 1x. So on 4x, that number should be closer to like 16 or 17. And I know that we're going to do more than that amount of laps in an hour. So, that'll be fun. Refueling speed's on 10 liters a second, which is going to be kind of fast, but not too fast. Group reduction's real. All the other stuff is pretty standard. Variable time is on 1 starting in the afternoon. Random weather, so I don't know exactly what's going on with that. But all things considered, I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. Like I said, it's going to be a one-make professional difficulty for the AI, and we are going to be running penalties for shortcuts. We're going to be running penalties for pit entry. So if we are, or pit entry exit. So if you mess that up, then you get a penalty. Simple as that. But of course, there's no speed limiting factor, so we can enter the pits as high as we want, and we can exit the pits as high as we want, because of course it's on auto for most of it. There will be no correction on collisions, so if we tag the wall, it's not going to try and right the car. Or if we spin out and we tag the wall, it's not going to try and right the car. There will be no penalties for wall collisions, but there will be penalties for hitting other cars. I don't know if that's going to directly affect me, but I'm doubtful. Yeah, with that said, I'm actually going to go ahead and save this on my test file, just so that if I want to come back to this, I can. But yeah, I think I've waffled on long enough. We're about 10 minutes deep already, including that little entry sequence. So, I'm not going to use too much more time, but I'm going to get right into it. We got the Mazda Spirit Racing livery on the car with the 55 on the side. A lot of the cars in the field, though, are just running the plain Jane Mazda colors that you could get from the factory, like the Soul Red. I don't remember the exact names, but, you know, just red, white, gray, black. Whatever you could find from the factory. All the 7 colors are on offer. But the main thing that you can feel, and that I'm feeling right away, is that there is not a lot of grip to go around, so you gotta be a little bit careful. And I have run off here in testing a couple of times, just trying to keep the car gathered up. But we'll be going nice and slow to begin with, because realistically, we're not gonna be very far off the pace at all. I think we're going to be focusing more on ascending the field in a respectable and realistic manner. I also really wanted to get the sequential shifter hooked up for this one, but I was having trouble. Well, it's not having trouble, but I'm kind of on a limited time budget right now. So I have places to be after this. You know, it's Friday night. Young lads have places to be. I'm kidding. I have to go do family stuff. But... oh, that's an early break from the car ahead. But we're all good. We made it out of there alive. But they're also off to a pretty leisurely pace. Everyone's just trying to get stuck in for the moment. And in case you're wondering, I am running this with ABS, as I normally would. This is pretty much just how I would normally run the car if I were in sport mode right now. I was thinking about doing the cockpit camera, but there are a few adjustments I'd like to make to have the entire HUD visible, which I don't currently have ready to go. So I'll worry about that at a later date. for future endurance races, because I do want to make this a recurring thing where I get to kind of chill out and bring more endurance racing to the channel, which is just something that daily racing isn't going to let us do as much. So you're going to get your nice, good 30-minute races on, what's it called? On championships, but that's really about it. And those ones are fun, but I mean, I kind of want to do some stuff that's longer. And particularly longer than 60 minutes, too. Like, I want to get into, like, 2-3 hours, maybe even some 4s, 6, 12s, and, you know, if we really get something moving, and probably not just me alone, but if we have the opportunity, maybe even some 24s. So I don't think I'm going to be up for 200 laps of Nürburgring. I think that's a bit beyond my pay grade. I think Steve is just built different. Meanwhile, we're about 5 seconds off the lead, and I believe we were about 8 or 9 when we started. So you can see we're still pretty ascendant up the field. We're not making quick work of them. And I feel like I'm not driving overly slowly, but I am definitely not at like full pace. Still kind of getting stuck in here. Getting cozy. Enjoying some of the music. We've got a bit more rear tire wear going on, though, than in the front. And I'm also trying to make sure I have a little bit of buffer for the amount that I'm talking. Alrighty. The car still wants to really, really move around on the brakes. I had to kind of chop off P8 Cardenas there. The blue Miata. But yeah, just based on the way that I'm kind of entering corners, the car has more of a tendency to want to burn up the rears and the fronts. I also feel like I'm going to start playing with track limits at some stage. We get a much better run there. That's going to immediately shoot us up a position. The one thing, though, is that the draft is really not going to be overly powerful just because we don't have a whole lot going for it. With how I guess, underpowered the engine is, it's going to be still effective, just not strong. But don't get discouraged if you see that we're already up to 5th from 20th in 2 laps, because it will still be a very interesting race the moment we get up to the front, because they will be able to keep up with us. Which means we're going to actually have to really start to get on it. Which is like sort of what I was alluding to with the pacing issues of the game. Because the field will always adjust the entire field will adjust their pace relative to what your position is compared to the lead car, what your time gap is to the lead car. And there are some tracks where they're better and some where they're worse, but it seems like they should be able to put up a decent fight here. The question now is if we're going to have to take tires at any stage, though I'm going to try and probably do a double if I can help it. A lot of body roll there. It was actually quite bad when we were on the stickier tires. Not so much that the car would just get completely out of whack. That's kind of hard to do in GT in general, but I don't know. Because the big thing is that the boost really starts to play for like positions 2 through 6 once you get in the lead. But now we're going to just try and hold this gap right here. You can see they're catching us just a little bit. And I think you'll see a lot of that in the straight lines. I think we can still exercise a bit of corner advantage just because, admittedly, the AI are not the best, but they're going to be able to keep it tight. Especially if you start going a crazy amount faster than them, they will start to reel you in. But we're still going to have to work for this, as noted. I can also kind of see on the mini-map, if you look kind of up towards the top right corner, they're starting to splinter off into 2 separate groups. There's 2 packs here. And you can also kind of see it back there as well, off in the distance, but I best not lose too much focus so I can hit my braking marker. Gonna be a little bit early there, just make sure we have the car gathered. Ooh, but you can't go too fast. Even with the chassis balance this good. It's just not enough grip to go around. But we're keeping them held at about 1.3 to 1.5, and then from there they keep kind of reeling us in. Though admittedly we're taking some crucial corners like the bus stop quite a bit better than them. But we're going to start to see them really lap faster as we wear on. And oh, I can see some cloud cover coming in too. Nothing on the radar yet, but you can start to see it's just getting a little bit hazier out there. And we can also kind of keep an eye on the fuel and everything too. So yeah, there are some areas where they're just genuinely quicker than us. And maybe that's down to, I love to just say skill issue nowadays. But there are certainly a few areas of the track where they're just reeling us in. But not handily. I think my main issue is I'm actually burning up the tires a bit more than I ought to be. In some cases where I'm not using every little bit that the car has to give. Like there, I'm getting reeled in because they got a much better exit than I did. See, the gap's already about to go down to under a second from me to second place. There's still a lot of room there on the brakes so we can kind of exercise. But you can also see if you're looking closely, and I'm trying to look closely because I'm perhaps a bit underoccupied, but they're not using all the track there behind. And that's worth so much time, because it really allows you to keep more speed in the entire chicane. And they're kind of programmed to be a bit on the safe side, because there's going to be some cars that are chronically worse than this. But you'll really see that the AI does its best work in like the quicker cars too. But if they can keep a good solid gap here with something like this, then they will do just fine in something like a GT3, which is what we're going to be doing most of these endurances at. Even the GT4s, I think, will put up some pretty interesting racing. I'm also excited to do some, what's it called? I believe it's still Michelin Pilot Cup Challenge style races. Which, if you know IMSA at all, you already know that's mainly just GT4 cars, or what they call GS class cars in that series, which is also paired up with TCR cars. And the dynamic is very interesting, because what you get is you have a tuned front-wheel drive class that's running on some pretty sticky slicks, and you have GT4 cars, which are also running on slicks. And it's a very similar format. You're not, you know, pushing the boundaries of what's possible, but you usually have like a 2-hour race format. There's a lot going on. You can see there's already a couple of cars that really fell off the back, either because they got damage, or presumably because they got damage. I'm just going to assume that right now. But yeah, and the other thing is that, like, you would think that by now, that especially with the skill issue of the AI, and I'm going to keep saying that, so enjoy me saying that. You'd think I would have started gapping them by now, especially with how they're taking some of these corners, but they're still maintaining exactly that same gap, like I said. anywhere between like 1.2 to 1.7 seconds. So, good on him. And if I do start making any gross mistakes, you're going to have to really be able to capitalize on it. But the main thing to consider is that we're going to be right on target for about, what, 16 laps, give or take? 16 or 17, I believe. And you can see that even though I'm going faster, like that was my new personal best, and at the time it was the overall fastest lap. The AI topped it, and are going to continue to try and top it. So it's kind of a good way of making myself look good, while also still having a quasi-interesting race. Because any mistakes I make are going to be critically, or they're going to be mission critical. Yeah. And it's every time on that corner I'm getting reeled in. I'm going to try and actually take that one out wider next time, because such is the momentum deficit. You know, you have to really keep it going in this car. But it's always right under 9/10, and then we can stretch it in the braking zone. Yeah, that's more of a line efficiency than anything else. Line inefficiency thing for the AI. You can also see they're kind of working together in the draft too. Not particularly well. You know, I'm still kind of keeping them at bay, but they're all playing ball together. And you can kind of see that there's like a few packs forming. Yeah, I slowed down quite a lot that lap. Oh, they're starting to get a little racy back there. The other thing is, if I really start going full tilt, I think they're going to still be able to keep up. Because yeah, I went out much wider that time. I feel like I carried momentum better. They're still catching me out of that corner. Which either means I'm scrubbing or something else is at play. Oh, excuse me. As you can tell, I'm a little bit tired from the work week, but I did have the good pleasure of getting off a bit early today, so that's nice. A little bit of a hairy entry there. But yeah, they can't seem to put that one together. They really can't. probably because you can see, like, I'm putting my left tires up on the curb, and I think realistically, as long as you have either no grass contact or everything is kind of like as far over as you can get to the left, you're legal. Which the AI is not really comprehending at this moment in time. Okay, a little mistake on my part. Also, it's one of those things that you certainly can't see right now. If I was in my other camera angle, it might be a little bit more obvious. I'm not wearing my gloves that I usually have on because I actually am trying to get them re-gripped, so I'm kind of ghetto-rigging it just a little bit. But what's also going on in the background is before I set the stream up, after I got off work, is I basically tore off the old grips because they were pretty dead, and then I didn't spray them down, but I kind of like put like a rubber lacquer on to where the pads were, and I'm just kind of waiting for it to set in. And I did like a test patch already, and it came out pretty good on one of the gloves. So now I'm doing the full job on them to see how it goes, though the coat's going to be a bit more even this time across everything. It's just where the old pads were, because I was having some severe issues when I was going karting about basically my hands were cramping up and fatiguing super badly just because there was that little grip. And also the hand grips on the steering wheels there, as you can imagine, are affectionately doggy doo-doo. I want to use a different word, but I will refrain. You know, they're rental carts. What can you expect? But yeah, and so I'm trying to get them re-gripped, so I have to use a little bit less effort to maintain a grip on the steering wheel. This one's actually fine. I have zero issues with this wheel, which is just the T300 GT standard wheel rim that came with my base. But like even with my F1 rim, I'm starting to have some minor issues. The rubber just isn't as grippy as it was when it was new, though that was a hand-me-down wheel. So any and every bit of extra grip that I can get is welcome. Which, now that I think about it, I haven't used that thing in quite a long time. There's a couple of reasons for that. I enjoy having all the extra buttons and rotaries that are on that thing, but also sometimes it is a hassle and a pain to get set up properly. And the fact that, like, for a lot of applications where I would use it, even on PS4, like, say, F120 whatever, you know, I'm not going to dox myself with the age of that game, because I haven't bought one of the new ones in a while. But on any of the F1 games, the button mapping is just entirely different. Some of the switch toggles just don't make sense, and of course you can always remap those things. But for whatever reason, I have issues where it like tries to fix itself, and that's really annoying. Meanwhile, the battle behind is not very dynamic for us. We're keeping them very effectively at bay. Lost a lot of momentum there. But I think we're doing an okay job so far. And I also don't think that we're going to be in any danger of having to put new tires on. I think that no one in the field is going to pit for tires, and that will be a-okay. At any rate, I'm just going to try and keep it right here. Okay, there's the skill issue I was looking for. It had to manifest somewhere. And now I have a penalty for track limits. But the fun fact is that this is not a sport mode penalty. We can kind of burn it at our leisure, which means that we might be able to just cheese this entirely. So we got half a second for track. This would be the easiest one to burn in theory. If it doesn't burn itself off at any point in the lap, then I'm just going to take the penalty on the tri-oval somewhere next lap. Probably where the usual penalty line would be, which is right before you get to start-finish. But even though my pace is kind of varying, it's kind of going up and down, fluctuating a little bit. You can see that the AI is just staying right with me. Not going much faster or slower than, despite the fact that I'm starting to make a few more mistakes. Tis what it is, I suppose. And that's sort of the problem that I'm starting to find, is that if you really slow the pace of the field down enough, if you slow it down that much, it will start to really deteriorate. But this is also a good learning lesson in that it's a good learning lesson in that you basically kind of get what you pay for. And if you are running slightly faster cars with a bit more, that you kind of need to really drive with a bit more care, then it sort of starts to come back and really play in. And it's nice. But the issue is that it's really easy to kind of stay at that 90% range where they are almost there, but they're also like, but we're not quite fast enough. Whereas it's a lot easier to make mistakes trying to keep this pace roughly in like a GT3, or especially in, oh, that's a penalty, Group 1 car. Anyway, I did not burn off any of that penalty effectively, so I'm going to go ahead and take the slowdown up here so we come out of Speedway 4. And that's going to be at least 2 positions that we lose, potentially 3. Looks like we're going to be able to hang on to 3rd at least. Just slot in right behind for now. Try and hold him around the outside. It was nearly flat. If I was a little better, it would have been flat. We're going to just go ahead and hang on to that one, despite the fact they're going to try and drive it up and around the back. Switchback? Nope. Not quite. If they were playing a bit more hardball, there was a switchback opportunity for sure, because I left the door open. Yeah. But now we got the run of life. Yeah, could be worse. It's still oddly competitive. I can actually see now that the rate of attrition is starting to get more cars back there. There are 3 that are vastly off the pack. And then we kind of have our main field that's coming through Speedway 2 now at the very, very tail end. I do want to see how fast I can take some of these corners and how fast I can start to really get the field to go. But I also am a little bit worried about leaving them in the dust. But like I said, they've been sticking with me, so let's see if we can really, really up the ante here. Because I've been driving a bit safe. And that's no fun. So let's really start pushing here. But it is only going to be one pit stop this time around, so it'll probably be near enough to 20 minutes to go. I imagine we're not going to do more than 25 laps. We can still have some fun with it. Okay. Had to sit up in my chair a little bit. And if we earn more penalties, we can burn more penalties, but damn, they really fell off. I feel like I'm overslowing for that corner a little bit, though, if I'm honest. So the other goal here, now that I kind of know where the field's at and how the cadence of the race is going to play out at this stage, is obviously I can't make any real major mistakes, because if I do, I'm going to lose positions. As evidenced by even just that half-second penalty, I lost 2 places off-rip. But the other side of that, I can break later there, is I'm going to challenge myself to also walk away with the fastest lap, which right now is only 4/10 quicker than my current best. But I gotta be doing that pace consistently. But the other nice thing is that this is just a really nice car to dance with in general. I really, really enjoy it. It's so much fun. Because when you put it right over the limit, the wheel just immediately snaps to where it needs to be, and it just kind of aligns, it rights itself perfectly. So that's super cool. And if you've ever driven a Miata and pushed it past the limit, you kind of know. I've never had the good fortune, but I've ridden shotgun with enough people to know. Ooh, I went a little bit hot there. Penalty? Penalty. Should be. I don't know. Yep, penalty. I was on a fast one, though. You can see, overall, we're at least, I think, 7-ish tenths up, unless I was slow in Sector 1. If I do a cleaner job of that, I'm actually going to lose less on penalty time. But this time we won't even lose 2 places, perhaps just 1. We can play with them on the brakes a little bit. But you can now see that, now that I really started upping the pace, some of the guys up here are doing 224s. So I really have to start driving seriously if I want to hit both of those goals. Okay, right at the inside. Beautiful. It's a good challenge. I'm going to have to really work for it if I want it. Also, the fuel burn is going to be interesting. Because one other aspect is that when we go into the pits, the fuel calculator is not going to know what to do. It's just going to recommend that we go to full fuel because it can't really make heads or tails of time-based races. So it's just going to be like, yeah, put in all the fuel. And that's obviously not the thing to do here. The question is, will the AI do the same? I think the answer is no. I think they're actually smart enough to be like, okay, if we do this and we do that, then we are only going to need X amount of fuel. Which is funny, because you would think that it would also factor that into the fuel estimates that it gives you, but I think it's also like, hey, if it's a time-based race, you're smart enough to figure it out. So I guess we'll see in a few moments, because it's going to be about that time in about 4 laps. Yep, too much. Big mistake. But that reminds me, though, is that that's one of my biggest things I'm trying to work past in my real world driving is like, I'm still really afraid of getting into slides because of the fact that like I've caught a couple, and I obviously know kind of what the muscle memory reactions are to do when that happens, but my understanding, my butt's understanding, my physical relationship to, like, you know, what's good yaw and what's bad yaw and when does it become a passenger slide, still not very developed. Like, my butt can tell me, like, yeah, you're spinning, you're slipping, you're rotating it, whatever, but it can't really tell me, like, okay, this amount is good, this amount is not good. My SCCA friends are like, well, if you just, you know, listen to what the car is telling you, if you ever start going into an oversteer moment, it'll let you know through the steering wheel. But, like, sometimes that window of time where it lets you know is exceptionally small. I don't know. That's just my thinking on the matter. Meanwhile, we're still maintaining that exact same gap I was talking about 10 or more laps ago, between 1.2 and 1.7, but the pace has changed dramatically. I've exhibited both some good pace and some drastic skill issues, but I think we can put together a lap that's in the 24s if we're really on it. And in theory, the AI should be able to keep up. So we'll see. That was my personal best by a second, but still not good enough to register that it was a heater. But we should be pretty much on for like a low 25 right now, which is progress. I remember I was saying earlier that it was starting to look like it was getting hazy, but it's not really doing a whole lot of anything right now. Skies are looking pretty clear. Overslowed, actually. Try to keep too much brake in it when I was going through there. But the lap's looking good. I think I said we were 1.4 up on previous, which puts us right in the range for that area of where the fastest lap is at. And then we have 2 laps of fuel, so we're going to probably have to bring it in at the end of 16. 2:24.7, okay. And the thing is that they're doing a great job of keeping up. If I drive at a much more controlled and reserved pace, they'll match me. But on the flip side, if I'm pushing like hell, they'll push like hell with me. So that's really nice. So that's sort of the goal, is that, like, you want to really push, but it also kind of gives you the opportunity to say, oh, if I'm in the pack, I'm going to drive safely. Which is, you know, it takes a little bit of the fun away, because it's like, if I just drive safely the whole time, then there's really no risk, and I can still have a great shot at winning. And that's unfortunate. Because if there's no danger in slowing down that 5-10% to where you have, like, a much better sense of car control, then what are you really racing for at that stage? You're not proving anything. So I think I know kind of where the happy place is for this race setup system. You can see that this is still working reasonably well. It's not like they're not there. It's just that it's sort of artificial. Like, they're just kind of playing tag along right now, despite the fact that they're showing that they can be faster. They're just, you know, like, if they ever get ahead, they're like, oh, come catch back up. So that's really unfortunate. This has been a great test in how the AI behaves in certain areas and under certain circumstances. But I wish we could have had a bit more of an interesting contest on our hands, because this isn't very intense, now that I kind of understand all of that in concert. Meanwhile, we're at 7% of our fuel tank. It's telling us to come in, but I'm going to go one more lap, because we still have 1.1 on the clock. Is anyone coming in yet? I haven't seen anyone come in for fuel yet, though. I think the only people who have pitted are those 3 who are way, way, way behind. and have effectively fallen off the draft train. But the other thing is I've only gotten the gap above 2 seconds a handful of times. The rest has all been with them, you know, not far off the back of me. Though I'm going to inject a little... no, actually I don't think I am, because I think for the exact reasons I was just talking about, me switching to H pattern in the middle of the race wouldn't actually have a meaningful effect on like the difficulty of it, unless I start making more mistakes. Because as I understand it, this is an H pattern car, even though the MX-5 Cup is a sequential nowadays. But this is not an MX-5 Cup, this is the NRA. Anyway, we gotta bring it in this lap for some fuel. And as they say, box, box. And we only got about 20 minutes left to get through. So the only real way we're going to get completely screwed on this is if we like miss the strategy entirely. Which I'm curious to see what would happen if we did. But we already kind of know the answer, is that the field would just slow down enough for me to catch up. And that's really upsetting, because what that ultimately means is that I have to drive cars in situations that are going to be difficult enough for me to say, wow, I'm having a tough time even like keeping regular pace with them. I'm having a tough time driving this car effectively to its limit. At which stage, you know, it's going to become a very interesting race. How's it going, Fitzy? Good to see you, my friend. Alright, still on it, still on it, still on it, still on it. Cool. No tires. That doesn't make any sense. I actually had less fuel than them. They're all on 4 or 5%, and I'm on 0. I'm just doing some fun races for funsies. Yep, and our diamond is on 100%, even though we really are not going to need more than half a tank of fuel here. If that. Because we went, what, 40 minutes? Yeah, we went 40 minutes on a whole fuel tank on one whole tank. So realistically, the math is mathing to where we're only going to need half a tank. So that's exactly what we're going to fill to. They're coming in. 51%. And they're going to fill to about the same amount. They're all... The number they're picking seems to be 56, but whatever. But we still haven't fulfilled that second part of our challenge today, which is we need to walk out of here with the fastest lap. We're still 3/10 off of that pace. Would have been better to get fresh tires to do so, but I think that we need to really challenge ourselves to do it regardless. And because if we're pushing ourselves the hardest that we can, this becomes all the more meaningful, because they'll still be right with us, and it's all the more likely that I'll make a mistake if that does happen. But if I'm just kind of putting along, doing endurance race things, then it's not going to be very meaningful. But with that said, I do think I have this format figured out. And we're probably not going to be revisiting this, the math is mathing. Sorry. That's a turn of phrase I got from my friend. But yeah. I'm sorry, I completely stopped myself in my tracks. But yeah, if we push hard, then it's going to be more meaningful, because the AI are going to be able to keep pace with us anyhow. And it's going to be more likely that we're going to have a proper, good, intense race and have a better shot at getting that fast lap. And we're probably going to push them to push the fastest lap even lower, which is really the goal here. So I guess our target pace needs to be in the 225s, lap on lap here. But so far, we're doing a pretty good job with this race. Obviously, it's going to be pretty well managed. We've lost the lead a couple of times and then got it back pretty immediately. So that's not the worry here. The worry is more, how far can we go? Like, what can our ultimate pace be? How hard can we push the car? And how many laps can we complete in that 60-minute span of time? Like, treat it like we're, you know, doing a daily race and trying to get the best overall total time, rather than just looking behind and saying, oh, we're winning, thereby, you know, let's just manage the race. Because, unfortunately, the AI are very responsive to that. If they even see that I slow down, they will slow down with me, regardless of the fact that I'm still ahead of them. So I'm going to try and start maximizing a little bit more, which consequently means I might shut up. But it's nothing personal. And I'm always still here to continue to chat. How have things been going for you, Fitzy, in your part of the world? Alright, so we're still a bit off the pace. I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up my splits timer, so I can kind of keep a better eye on where I'm at pace-wise. I still have not gotten the bus stop down to a science, but I'm getting closer and closer. I also don't know if it's... It'll take fourth through there. Fourth gear is certainly something that will work. But I don't know if that's the right choice. I want to say third might be a bit too short, though. You start to try and put some legs on the cars behind. Looks like there's only 3 of them, and then giant gap back to 5th. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. Alright, new fast lap. They're probably going to top that in not long. Burned quite a bit of speed there, though. And sort of the tricky part for me is actually trying to get that subtle balance of where the car is really at its limit without letting it burn off that excess speed. It's something I struggle with a lot on these cars on street tires. Is trying to find that exact point where they really like to be, where they're, you know, just in that perfect state of rotation without going too far. Trying to also avoid getting penalties. Just put yourself P4 worldwide on the ACC special event leaderboard. Feeling damn proud of yourself. As you should. As you should. That's quite a feat, man. I know that I've never gotten even close, and that's remarkable. I also should play some more ACC, because it really is a good time. Because this, and this is probably something that no one here is interested in, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it for me. The stark contrast is that the ACC single-player experience is also just quite good. Like, if you want to go and race some GT cars and have a great time doing it, ACC is your game. Like, such that, well, 2 things. I'm considering getting it for console, but to the same end, and probably the more important thing, is that I want to upgrade my PC, and I already have it on PC, as you can imagine. And I want to upgrade it so that I can not only play on there and properly get good, but also stream those exploits, because one of the biggest things stopping me from really like incorporating more iRacing and ACC and just other games into the mix, as it were, is just that I have a relative potato of a PC. This thing is pretty decent mid-tier computer for 2018 standards, and I believe I got it in, you know, like 2019, 2020. So it's not the strongest thing in the world. I've been gradually upgrading it over time, but the issue is that it's just not able to keep up. It's just not able to keep up. 12 minutes to go, by the way. Last lap was a 2:24.8, so we're still pushing pretty good. And as you can see, the AI are still right there. And they also beat my fastest lap. Damn it. So 2:24.1 is our new target. There we go. And I'm just going to try and nail every single apex and really balance the car. I'm getting a better idea of where it likes to be before it starts to really slide out. Console version's a different beast now. 50-car lobbies, driver swap endurance races, all working now. I am happy for that. Because we've deserved a good, and I say we, console racers, but I mean everyone who's doing sim racing. Full stop. We deserve to have, you know, like really good, inclusive experiences. Oh, it will take their gear there. Really good experiences that are like full featured and just proper, and that's what we need. That's exactly what we need, and the new consoles obviously can handle it. I take it you're on PS5. Okay. Based on the numbers, I think we're going to be on for a similar lap time to what we just had. Alright, 10 minutes, that's going to put us on for about, what, another 4 laps, maybe? There we go, just barely snagged it. We were 1/8 thou faster than the previous fast lap. That'll probably get taken away pretty quick, too. Like I said, I'm getting a better hang for how to really work this. I'm also still, like, slaughtering them out of the bus stop. Like, they cannot keep up with me out of the bus stop. But everywhere else, they're figuring it out. They're putting it together. And that's sort of what this is the point I was trying to make. Is that if you set up the AI right on GT, especially in the faster cars, they can give you a proper challenge. They can actually give you a race, especially if you're willing to give it 100. But the issue is that I was kind of just like settling in, I was waffling, I was getting better. And getting comfortable too. So I wasn't really exercising all that at first, and it kind of was just a boring race. But now that I'm giving 100% of what I got, they're still right there with me, and it feels a lot more intense. Should have been on my friend's leaderboard for the Merc at Deep Forest the other week. I was on yours. Oh, yes. That was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think you were, and I think that, as is usually the case, I'm never quite there. Like, I think I put a pretty good lap together for that one, for once in my life. And I was not quite there, but that was a fun one. I had a lot of fun with it. Have you done any of the boards for this week's races yet? I'm guessing, I take it you probably have. So I might take a quick shot at those before I jump off for the night. Oh, okay. That wasn't the fastest I could have been there. Yep, I was pretty slow through that chicane. But we still have the fastest lap so far, so they're probably going to try and take it away now. See what we can do. Because I already did the online time trials. I did like the time trials, not the daily race qualifying. Just the separate time trials that are in sport mode. But I only like kind of did like a quick shot at those. I usually am just trying to get gold. You always on ACC, you're going to set a Bathurst time tomorrow on the 2 mil TT. Yes, I already have set one, so I don't think my reference time is going to be like staggering, but I might go ahead and take another shot at that now you mention it. Because I think I did a 2:01 already, and I think the world record's in the 58s. So I think I could probably try and knock that down to 2 minutes dead. Not certain if I should try and use the Corvette, stick with the same car I used yesterday, which is the 2020 AMG, or if I should like go to a proper meta car and just quit deluding myself. But I'm thinking I'm probably going to try the Corvette and see how far I can improve in the span of like 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, now I'm not driving great. But that's the issue, is that like you start making small little micro mistakes and they respond immediately. Like, they notice it before you notice it. But I'm glad you're always on ACC, because that is a staggering title, and it deserves to be. It deserves the spot that it has in the sim racing community. I'll say that. So Medi's a monster. Very low 58. Yeah, I want to say it's like 58.1, which is redonkulous. I'm not sure why I said redonkulous, but you know what I mean. It's a stonker properly. Oh, slow again. You can see I just bled off way too much speed there. Okay, Finley, 24.112. We're literally just playing a game of tit for tat here. So I just have to improve by 400. But I'm only going to have maybe 2 more opportunities to do it. You can see we're still winning, but like I said, we gotta get that fast lap too. Alright. Okay. I'm gonna properly try and focus for this one. Though we already got something of a bad run coming off bus stop. Not that we can't overcome that. Yeah, there's a little bit there. Little bit there. Can still put up a pretty good sector, though. I think I got a little bit too caught up in the fact that I actively induced understeer in the way that I exactly wanted to, and I let the car kind of do whatever it was doing on the exit of the corner, which is not good. Nice balance pedal inputs will get you so far. Also, weird question, do you have iRacing at all? I mean, do you like your wallet, or do you like racing online with other people who use voice chat? Because I know the Bathurst 12 hours coming up. I am already in cahoots with a team to run. And I likely won't be streaming such endeavors, but, you know, if anyone's running, I always like to watch what they're doing and keep up with what their exploits are. Just because, like I said at the top of the stream, I love endurance racing. That's my Jimmy Jam. Because it's both the most relaxed and most, like, oddly competitive form of racing that I, like, can just immediately fall into. You can take it as seriously as you want. I think that's sort of the best barrier to entry that I like. Most others, it's like, yeah, like there's pressure to win, there's pressure to do this, there's pressure to do that. Endurance racing, you can quite literally take it as seriously or as unseriously as you want, because just getting to the end of the damn race is a chore in itself. As we'll start to see as I get further into the series and I start running in more complicated and difficult cars, like the GR010, that's going to be probably my nemesis for the next couple of months, even just on GT7. This is not the easiest car to drive fast. So yeah, I'm leaving a little bit on the table still. Okay, so we are going to get one more lap after this. They move the goalpost down to a 2:24.0. Which is to say I'm still setting pretty good lap times. They would have slowed down if I wasn't. I caught some understeer there. Didn't need any of that. I feel like I could have gotten a much tighter line, actually, if I had not exceeded the limits there. Oh, I have played myself. I did not put in enough fuel for that final lap. Which means we now have to fuel save and win. So this is going to be fun. I now have to fuel save on the final lap, so let's go ahead and start lifting and coasting, because I wasn't paying enough attention. If I was paying attention to the fuel numbers, I would have seen already that we are in a bit of a pickle. And I messed up the entry to the bus stop. But now the... Okay, and now I have a fucking 0.5. My primary issue is that I'm going to serve this penalty like it were a sport mode race. But further is that I have to basically get to the end on 3% of fuel. So I don't know how I'm going to do this, but it's going to be a very interesting finish because I missed the calculations. So we're going to try and short shift, we're going to try and lift, we're going to try and just get there as best we can and still win the race. But I think we did, in fact, miss out on fast lap. We were right there. Not but 700ths off, but... Yeah, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to make it. Mario on 1%. I messed up. I messed up hard because what happened is I got so much faster in the second stint because I really started pushing because I started to understand what was happening. And what that did is that threw off my fuel calculations because it added effectively another lap to what was possible. And now I had to get to the entire tri-oval on 1% of fuel. Well, we're out. We're gonna coast to the line and see where it gets us. I know it'll let us run at 50 at a certain point. I'm gonna see if it'll let us coast to the line so we can get a better representation of what this would have actually looked like, because I really messed up. I should have put it in 5th or 6th immediately so I could have a little bit more coasting power. We're just going to leave it in 4th. What a shame. What a shame. We were literally running out front. Oh my god! I stayed on my side of the track. I did nothing wrong there. Thanks for the boost, I guess. If we get below 5 miles an hour, I'm stopping it. I'm just going to try and roll this one to the finish. But we can have a nice, interesting conversation on the way up there. That is frustrating, though. If I was paying attention earlier, I would have caught it so much earlier, but I literally caught it with a lap to go. And there's nothing I could do at that point. I think I looked down and I saw the fuel icon was red, and I think that's when I realized I messed up. Because I was already below 10% at that stage. You have like maybe a lap and a half. That's about how it worked out. We're still coasting on down, but we're only doing 17 miles an hour. I ought to give up the ghost at this stage. So yeah, I effectively finished 17th. We'll go ahead and just call it there. That is so upsetting. That's so freaking upsetting, too. I'm not going to take any of the money because I didn't finish. Even with something as simple as this. Even with something as simple as this, you can't finish. Like, I failed to finish even on a freaking GT7. Not an endurance race. Endurance test, I guess. So, them's the breaks, I guess. You were probably thinking this is going to be the most boring race you're going to see. But I fucked up the calculation, so that's on me. And that's endurance racing. That's how it goes sometimes. Well and truly. Sometimes you just have those moments where you miss calculations, where something goes horribly wrong out of nowhere. Or you're an idiot like me. I don't know. But I genuinely had fun, because I think that we learned a lot in that experience. There's a lot of learning to be had. And I'm excited to do this again, genuinely. But I still have unfinished business. So I'm going to go ahead and save that for my own purposes so I can make some clips later. Check. But I need to go ahead and set a lap. Set a lap that is going to be worthy of my friend Fitzy before we get on out of here. So... let me give it a couple. I feel like I'm gonna be faster in the Corvette than I was in the GT3 just because I have more experience in that car. But I don't know. That GT, it felt like it was on rails. That thing felt like it was on rails yesterday when I was driving it. So I'm curious to see. I think, yeah, I'm just gonna run the Corvette. Because why not? That is the car that I do run more than any other, so I'm not going to try and make a good thing bad. Went from 1st to 17th in just that amount of time. That's funny though. Like the it's human comedy. It's the human comedy. It's, if you go back to that race, it's literally just like that. I would actually say that the ones that are in that mission set are, you know, not even arguably, they are better. They are better races, full stop. Because those are ones that you're actually going to be challenged to win and finish. But here, like, golly. I was like commanding that entire race the entire time. And then it fell apart at the end. But that was cool. I actually had a really good time with that. Anyways, it's not to belay the point here. Well, maybe this is my... Let me see. I'm not going to talk, I'm just going to shut up and drive. Understand what I can about the car first, and then go from there. Yeah, brake a little bit earlier there. It's a bit less rear end grip. I feel like the AMG is a bit grippier, but it also had less power. Just invalid the lap, that's understandable. keep on learning from it. So I wonder if we're going to be able to get the gains in the straightaway, because if that's the case, then that's already something. It still is not. It's still pretty positive. It's got a pretty positive front end. It's just not perfect. If I can wrangle this thing around, it probably will be a little bit faster. By how much, I don't know, though. I'm gonna go ahead and give this 5 more laps. 5 more laps to really figure out what I can do. This thing might not be as efficient in the aero department, though. It can really rotate in. But so could the AMG at that point. And I'm not even sure what the meta car is. I'm guessing it's probably something like the Genesis. But I think there's pace to be had here if I can find it. Okay. But yeah, the car is balanced. Not great, but it's balanced. I'll put up a meta time later. Right now, I just want to see what I can do with this relative to where you're at. Okay, that was better. Okay, well, still understeering. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm fighting. There's certainly less advantage to be had in the twisty bits compared to what I was feeling yesterday, because that thing was glued. That, like I said, it was truly on rails, and such that I might go back to it. Because even with this kind of advantage, I don't know if I can get into, like, firmly into the 201s, even on a good, clean lap. So maybe I did kind of shoot myself in the foot with the choice. But I do want to know what I can do. I still want to know what I can do first. So I'm going to finish my 5 laps. And then probably hop back into either the car I was in yesterday or just go meta. Or no, I'm going to hop back into the car I was in yesterday. Because I also want to understand the differences. I want to, like... I'm not doing enough driving these days, and I want to get better as a driver. So I want to do a better job to understand the differences between them. Ooh, yeah. This is going to be a challenge to even get into the 201s. This is going to be a huge challenge for me to get in the 201s in this car. But I'm here for it. I actively want the challenge, as a matter of fact. If I can't improve, oh well. But I believe in myself enough to try. Shouldn't be banging it off the limiter like that. It's not helping me anyway. Oh my god. It's actively bad up there. And I say actively bad. That's certainly, like, relatively bad. But that's just to say that the other cars have a ton of grip up on the top of the mountain. Like, a ton. That was faster, though. Okay. Okay. We'll see what we can do with this one. I think the delta is referencing my first lap and not the most previous one. It's funny, I claim to be a sweat, but I actually do a bunch of stuff to shoot myself in the foot a lot of the time. Ah, damn. I could have been cleaner there. Oh well. Okay. Maybe I was underestimating myself a little bit too much. But I do think getting that same lap time is going to be a chore. Let me give myself 3 more laps to do it. But now I have a ghost time. Doing my best to balance the car on the edge. Which is really what you have to do with this thing a lot of the time. You just have to let it slip out that little bit and then just let the understeer catch it. Pretty standard procedure. I slowed down a little bit too much there. Still on a better lap. So what would this be? Currently it's be just below 2015 if we can hold it. I think I made a slight mistake down at the bottom of the chicane as well. Try and improve on that. Yeah. And there's even more time there because I missed the apex on that one. Okay, shoot. Maybe I was under S201, 202 last time around. And this is a 201, 265 last time. So we can improve by a couple hundredths. We can cover that deficit. Need to turn off the ghost so I can focus. I feel like I'm in a great rhythm right now. But there's some places I can optimize, like there. That was terrible. That was not like dog doo-doo, but that was pretty terrible. Okay. One more lap after this. One more. And then pop in the AMG and see what I can figure out. But I also want to save this ghost too, see exactly where the differences are at. Yeah. It's not a ton of time. You can see there's time there, though. And I bogged the car down. It would have liked second. That was good. That was a net positive. Last lap to do it. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and call it there. I think the 265 is honestly still a testament to what the car is capable of. when you're really doing good, because I think there's absolutely like there's a 2-minute dead in there. There's a 2-minute dead in there. Oh no shit! I meant to save the replay. But what I'll do now is I'm gonna go ahead and jump in the AMG, same 5 laps, and then I'm gonna go ahead and find someone to raid in the meantime. Because this thing, it was working. It was working well. Yes, the Genesis is in fact, of course, the meta car, as you would imagine. I'm going to go to that later, off stream. But right now I'm just going to focus on what I'm feeling, which is these. The front engine, big old B8 motors, and all of that. So, I like it. I like it. I love it. And if you guys have anyone you think would be deserving of a raid on Twitch, let me know. I don't think that there's any equivalent on YouTube, or especially not Facebook, but, I mean... drop a comment, say hey, I don't know. Just do something. But I'm having a good time, so... we'll probably be back to the ranked races and just doing dailies and grinding like hell. Next time around, probably be back on... ideally Monday. If not Monday, then Tuesday. But one of the two. And we're also uploading a bunch of stuff to YouTube and TikTok as well, as far as the shorts. Gold guides are still going up. I had just finished recording the International B batch. You don't need the Ghost, you got there in 4 laps. You'll go faster than that if you're back in the vet. You're right. But I believe in myself. I do genuinely believe I can go faster in this car, unless it's got like an issue in the straight line. Because this thing, it felt so much better to drive. So much better to drive. Like, you're gonna see in a moment. And I'm sure you probably already know with the Genesis. But that thing is just ridiculously more grippy. Because this was stable everywhere. I was having understeer and oversteer moments abound that last time. So maybe I wasn't pushing as hard as I perhaps could. But I think we can do it. Oh yeah, the front end is so positive. And it's all the grip at speed. It's all there. This thing is making stupid amounts of downforce, relatively speaking. You can balance it a lot better on throttle too. And this is flat, or much closer to flat. That was actually flat. If I had my turn-in point right. Okay, I tried to learn that lesson from the Corvette. This one didn't respond quite as well. But I still made that corner despite braking stupidly late. Limit testing a little bit, but I think that's what you need to do. Yeah, I think I can definitely go faster. But I was also just like trying to get gold last night when I was doing this. I think this car has more pace, actually. I think it actually has more pace. It feels like it. So even when you're still like on the brakes, immediately as soon as you start bleeding off of them, the car just grips up intensely. It's not perfect, mind you. But like if you treat it with respect, it will give you so much in return. And that's the hallmark of a lot of fast cars, is that they're easy to beat on. And that's what I'm getting from this, at least compared to the Corvette, is that's easier to beat on. I feel like it is actually worse than the low speed, though. Not actively worse, but worse. When it has downforce, it's doing better work. Okay. I think I actually tried to do too much there. Just keep the lap going. I think that would have been track limits, but the fact that we gained that much and we are already kind of shot through that sector tells me everything I need to know. I'm confident, perhaps a bit overconfident, but that's what it's all about. You learn through doing it. So yeah, you shouldn't clatter the curbs, obviously. But everything else you can do with relative impunity. Huh, that did not hurt as much as I thought it would. Yeah, I kind of messed up on my steering input there. We are still on for a 2-minute. Still gonna take those extra 2 laps. It's kind of insane to think how far GT cars have come. Just in general. Great lap, by the way. Alright, okay. We're not even far off. Slightly worse T1, but I'll take what I can get. Thank you guys for reminding me how much fun streaming is. I always, like, tell myself, like, yeah, it won't be all that worth it, or it's just something I do for myself or whatever, but really is a great time. Really do enjoy the ever-living crap out of it. Stuff like that happens. Unexpected moments, and sometimes you fail miserably, and sometimes you achieve greatly. And you have those ambitious but rubbish... Oh, that was a lot of front-end lift. Moments. Ambitious but rubbish. Perfectly timed. Perfectly timed. Alright, so this lap is dead. That's fine. That's fair. I lost my concentration. Stretch it out. Get ready for the last one. It's just a time trial anyway. It's the best time to make mistakes. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about that. I'll go back and try and clip it or some crap or something. I don't know. But I'm in my zone right now, so I'm gonna try and get this last one together. I do think I can put it together if I actually dial it back like 2%. Okay, that was kind of slow, but not amazingly. I lost like net 300ths. I don't understand how I'm up. I don't understand, but I'll take it. Every part of my body is wincing and tense, but hey, we're here. We're here now. Because I was literally hanging on for dear life at a certain stage of the chase, I believe it was. Stay there, stay there, stay there. The face I was making, I can't even fathom. I fucked up so badly. I was on to possibly improve that. I got greedy though. I knew I did really good on that lap too. That's what it's all about though. Because I didn't think I was going to get into the 2-minute range at all. I genuinely didn't. But I feel a lot better about that. So 480th. I'll take what I can get. I still have a little bit of work to do, but I'm pretty proud of that time, admittedly, for the car that we had. Yeah. So it seems like the fastest GT3 or AMG GT3 is going to be 59s. So it's certainly not a bad car to have. Yeah, I would say I do probably have a 59 in this car, but it's going to take me a while to get there. So I'm going to actually science this all out and properly give you something to race against. But I'm going to leave that bench there for you, and I'm sure you're going to beat it. But I'm not going to make it easy for you. Not going to make it easy for you. Very thrilled with that, though. Especially knowing that I have more time in it as well. Because I was like 2/10 up at a certain stage. And that was after 5 laps. I could sit here and do this all night. But I gotta go babysit. So, thank you guys so much for being here, sticking around, even after our Miata shenanigans. Trying to see who all is on right now. I think I might, yeah, I think I know I'm gonna raid. Anyways, yeah, Bathurst is harder in GT7 than it is on ACC. It feels like it's like narrower and like there's more, like if you mess up the curbs, it's way more unforgiving, which is not normal. GT7 is always usually the more forgiving of the two. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and check out some VR gameplay on GT7 with the PSVR 2. I'm going to go ahead and set up a raid over here for all of our guys. Less rude. Yeah, that's true too. The margins are super thin. All of our guys on YouTube and Facebook, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. I appreciate just chilling the end of the week with you guys. Till next time, take care, race fair, and I'll be seeing you around. We're going to go ahead and close out the stream.